Hey everybody, Mr. West here. Made some mods to the Peace Drone. So I was thinking about not tearing up the bottom of the fuselage tube there, and I fly off of pavement that has gravel on it, so it's not a main road or anything, but it is a blacktop road. And anyway, so my point is that there's gravel on it and so forth, and it just tears up the bottom. So I could see that being a problem. So I said, oh, I'm going to get some wheels underneath there. So this is what I did. So basically think about it as an inline skate. Inline skate, 2 wheels, non-steerable. It's steerable by lean. So if you are actually on the ground on a landing, then you're going to want to use your ailerons left and right to balance and steer to left or right. And I used a bit of light ply. Basically that's Home Depot scrap, 1/8 inch scrap. It's like a door skin. That's a Luan ply, quite inexpensive. And in the handy panel section at Home Depot, they have them pre-cut panels, reasonable sizes. You pay a little bit more, but they're at least reasonable sizes. That's the same material there on the back end for the motor mount. So that keeps the prop obviously out of the dirt and the ground. That'll work. This will work real well on grass landing or gravel or whatever. I think it was a great idea. Let's see. I was trying to get her to fly without, I was having to put in some up elevator, right? So I did some CG testing and kind of pushing the CG limit, meaning back. So the further back you go with your balance, changing your center of gravity, the more responsive she's going to be. Let me put this right here like that. So Ed over there at EA, some great information and great build stuff. He was always saying that it needed to be nose heavy, and I would tend to agree with that if you want a more stable, and I should say a little less performance, meaning I guess more stable is the idea. So it's going to be a little sluggish on pitch response, okay? And you may end up flying, and I don't know why I am, but this is how my response was. So what I set up per his design. 15 inches is the number that he gave from the back plate here, or the tail of the tube. 15 inches is a CG, and then to be forward of that some on purpose, and then he indicated that the Peace Drone likes to be a little nose heavy. Okay, so I started out that way with about an inch forward of 15, which took a lot of movement of battery weight or ballast. Actually, it was battery weight. Main batteries are the ballast that I'm moving around to change CG locations. Having said that, my point is, what I did is I started moving back. So this is 15 right here. That's 15 inches, and I made this window forward thinking I was going to be here, so that's what that front mark is. I figured that my CG is going to need to be in here somewhere. Initially, that's where I was. Real sluggish, and I had to put in quite a bit of up elevator. So that's telling me a couple of things, and you can start eliminating what's going on. The degree of incidence in the front, if it's too great, you're always going to have a nose up, or a response of a nose up, elevator up kind of flight. But it wouldn't account for having to add more up elevator necessarily, because I'm getting really good lift off the front, especially when I've increased airspeed. The nose really likes to pop up and likes to climb. So I've tried to fly, you know, in a neutral elevator position, visual neutral on the ground here. Then I go fly. Well, I'm having to pull a lot of elevator up. So then I full throttle it up, and I get some high speed going, some high airspeed, and the nose, everything seems to level out just a little bit, you know, like it's getting elevator input, but not quite enough. So I end up having to trim at half throttle-ish. Quite a bit of elevator in there. There's a good 1/8 inch up on the trailing edge, and these are 2 inches wide. So anyway, my point is I want to try to improve its performance. So you want to reduce that amount of control surface input, right? So the only other option would be, this is a fixed wing here in the front, is to move that ballast back. So I started moving the ballast back. I ended up being happy at 14.5. So I made a new window based on 14.5 as the center. So I got a 15 forward and a 14 inch behind it mark right there. And I've got it centered or balanced pretty closely at 14.5 inches from trailing edge. Much more responsive, and the elevator is now near neutral. So I think I headed in the right direction, and that's kind of where I went. I also tried changing the pitch angle on the motor, pitching it upward like most of your pusher prop designs are, and it did not help the elevator, and that stands to reason, is because when you're throttling off and the nose pitches up strongly, your elevators are the only thing that are making the nose go up, again, unless this is extremely high. But this prop is, or this motor with 0-degree pitch on it, is actually pushing the nose down because it's not right on the roll axes. If it were down here, it would probably have zero effect on nose, pitching the nose up or down. So in a pusher prop like your Easy Star configuration, where it's above the wing like this, they have an up thrust angle pointing towards the rear to literally pick the nose up, because it's off of the roll axes. So the closer you are to roll axes, the 0-degree on pitch is possible / necessary, works best. So I seem to have discovered with zero pitch and moving the CG back a ½ inch, with the number of degrees incidence that I have into this, exact degrees I don't know, but I'm guesstimating about 3 degrees, at the most 4 degrees, and seem to be real happy with that. Love these wheels. Once it lands on the ground, and I position that rear wheel as far back as it is here, leaving some good contact point back here for the hot glue. Again, all hot glue too. So it likes to land on that wheel. It's really nice. The tail comes down and touches first, then the nose comes down, generally pretty gentle. And that was a huge improvement. Really like that, versus hanging you know, aluminum landing gear and steerable nose wheel and all that business. It really doesn't need it. This thing hand launches beautifully at 5 pounds all up weight, with 2 3-cell 3600 Turnigy's in there, plus 228 grams in the nose. You say 228 grams? Yeah, that's the camera that I'm using is the Sony Bloggie high definition, and then also my Pilot Eyes is a Sony CCD high definition CCD. So both of those will be up in the nose. So right now that's that ballast weight of 228 grams approximately. And then I will have a video battery installed in here. So that video battery will actually go here mid-wing somewhere, and I like to wedge it in on the under the bottom of that wing and secure it there. So then my rear or my main batteries, which sit right in this section right here, they'll get pushed back a little bit further. I'll compensate later, but that CG seems to work. The wingtips are certainly not EA or ED standards, and so far I found them to be acceptable. I haven't found any negatives. High bank angle turns, it doesn't fall out of turns, it doesn't want to stall in and nose in, and that's at both high and low airspeed. So I'm quite impressed with overall the wing and so forth. I'm just crazy impressed with the cheapness and the ease of build on these foam board wings, or construction in general. Super stout. I really like the spar design that I put into this one. If I had carbon fiber arrow shafts laying around or the money and ease of getting them, I would give them a go, because I think they're pretty smart. They're pretty stiff and relatively inexpensive. I think they're like $5 a piece, give or take, $6 a piece. And yeah, you gotta buy them in a half dozen or a dozen. It's cheaper in the dozen, of course, and online is definitely cheaper than any local that I know of, unless you live near a Walmart or a Kmart that has local hunters. In Arizona, I'm sure there's quite a few of them that supply or cater to the local hunters during hunting season. So you might be able to find some pretty cheap there at Walmart, Kmart. I haven't looked online at theirs. I should do that. So if you happen to find some good sources on carbon fiber blank arrow shafts, would be nice. Send me a message there, comments, or link it or whatever, and give me some heads up on that. And other than that, I think that's it. Again, thanks for watching, and give me a comment or two, see what you think about that. If you have any questions about the Peace Drone and the build that I did, remembering or reminding that this is a 4-inch tube here versus the original, I think, ended up being like 3 inches on the outside dimension. And I've got my batteries. I made that wide enough on the inside so the batteries would lie flat, side by side, at their widest, flat on the floor of the bird, and they strap down real nice on the inside. There's a shot of the interior there. The glare out here is crazy. Anyway, oh, and I went to a bigger prop too. This is a 900 kV motor, so it's a little torqueier, so I can swing a little bit bigger prop. I wanted to get my throttle down to about half throttle, so I had a 12.6. I had a 12.6 APC prop on there, and 3/4 throttle would move it along proper for a slowed flight, trimmed up for level flight with that. But I wanted to get a little lower. I want to use less battery. So I went to a 13.7 here, and again, I've got lots of ground clearance, and so the 13.7 seems to be really cool. I can get it down into half throttle, and it motors along. So I imagine I can feather that back just a little bit further, using more elevator trim to compensate. But if you start using too much elevator trim, it'll want to balloon, meaning the nose will want to kind of balloon up. If you get a headwind that gusts, it'll pick the nose up, and then that disturbs your level of flight and everything, and it's kind of porpoisey looking, you know, up and down, up and down. So anyway, enough about that. Again, thanks for watching, and West out.